What's up? Paul's here. We are introducing these new Coffee Cup keychains. Today we're going to be touching a little bit on the subject of fear and how it kind of plays, how it affects us and what are our initial reactions. I remember one night I was supposed to give a report and I actually ended up had the most common dream of, you're in front of class giving a report but you end up in your underwear. And that was like my terrified nightmare.
I mean, probably the best way to overcome that fear, because that's what part of what we're going to talk about.
Put
is,
pants on.
Well, just to actually go out in your underwear in real life. Then you've conquered the fear and you don't need to dream about it anymore. Because it's like, oh, worst case scenario, I've already dealt with that. Problem solved. As a Christian, there's some scriptures that talk about fear in a good sense, and they talk about it in a bad sense. And there's also, from a scientific perspective, the fight or flight mechanism is something that increases blood flow to the brain and to the extremities, the body, the hands and the legs and everything, because it's trying to prepare you to make a split-second decision to either run away from some kind of a conflict or danger or to deal with it. I believe that God created nature, He created, humans, and so some of those things are because of the brokenness of our world and fallenness of humanity, but other parts are actually, they're put in by God to help us. I think we've all been held back by a fear at one point, and it was either, a good thing or just really frustrating.
Again, I got into was extreme pogoing, awesome sport. So one of the things that he just, he tried a couple of times was the wraparounds.
That was probably my least favorite trick. The notion of wrapping the pogo stick both behind your back and passing it under your legs at the same time was just very scary to me. I landed on the pegs during a wraparound. The pogo stick actually shot up, hit me in the jaw, and I had to go to the doctor because it actually bit through part of my tongue.
Yeah. So past experiences can definitely enhance a fear mechanism. When that comes, you want to push through that. Of that was the outcome, but how can I change the outcome? I see a lot of athletes do it when they think they can't do it. They tell their mind, and sometimes people I'll scream, whatever.
Yeah, they're trying to psych themselves up.
Yeah, you psych to you no, I'm going to do this.
Looking at the facts, if you've never done, a flip, a backflip on a trampoline, there's no reason you should be doing it off of your roof. That's just that's not logical.
Yeah.
But if you know that you've gone through the steps to training, that you have the physical capability, and that there's just a fear, you really convince yourself that you're ready, and you go for it, and then you get scared in the middle of doing something, it can make it even worse. A perception about something can change how you make decisions in a good way and a bad way. One of the ones that I think about is gun violence. Every day in the world, in America, people are wounded or killed with guns. You're way more likely to have, an accident in your car than you are to have somebody break into your home and want to shoot you. Most people are not afraid when they get in a car. They're not thinking, I might die when I get on the road. But statistically speaking, it's more than 10 times as likely. It's more than 100 times as likely. That's a realistic fear, but needs to be put into a categorized area. It can't be something that's taking up so much of your thought and willpower.
In James, where it says God's not giving us the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. The sound mind, something that thinks clearly, that is perceptive, that is okay, this is what the Word of God says, and this is how I can actually act out. In 1 John 4:18, there's perfect love casting out fear.
Right. Anything that takes an inappropriate hold on your life and keeps you making a specific decision or stops you from making another decision is something that you feel can pulse to do, even if it's not actually based on reality. So if somebody's right in front of you, threatening you, or if there's a fire or anything like that, or if you're using a chainsaw or something, you need to have your wits about you. That phrase.
I think a healthy fear.
Yeah. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It doesn't mean that He wishes you harm. He wishes you good. But if you do the wrong thing, harm is going to come to you, whether you bring it on yourself or He brings it on you.
So if you're someone that struggles with making friends, because you're afraid of what they're going to think of you, judge you by your past, whatever, having that fear of the Lord diminishes those lesser fears. Because you know that your allegiance and your eyes are set on one thing true.
A lot of those fears are based on the fear of rejection. And if you are, afraid of man's opinion of you, or woman's, opinion of you, that's going to hold you back from a lot of things. The only person whose opinion you really should be striving for, and afraid of making, the good choices is the Lord. And so you want to make the choices that He agrees with.
Learn to overcome some fears in your life, whether that is doing something extravagant as an extreme sport, or going out for that track team, or playing football, or making that business decision. It'd be awesome. You'll probably never regret it. Just do it.
Thanks for watching this video. Comment and subscribe, and like it, and party on, Garth.